Hello? Hello?
I am here. Sorry, I'm just typing on WhatsApp to a coordinator right now. Sorry.
Hey, Jordan.
So,
Good morning.
hello. I'll be back real quick.
Okay, take your time, bro.
Good morning, Karwan.
Good
Good
morning.
afternoon. How are
Hey,
you?
thank you,
How you
Chiluvya.
doing?
How are you? Really good, actually. Excited, really excited.
Okay, I just looked at your message. Which transition phases are you nervous about? Hey, JD.
Yeah, so what I meant by that is when we go from the who part to the what part, it is kind of my first time, and it kind of worries me, but not that much. He just told me to uh, tell you the things that worry me, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
only thing.
Okay, all right. But what about it worries you? Like that it doesn't connect, or what's the
Uh,
fear?
like I've been reading it, like you have to make the who part a doorway transition to the what part. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was kind of wrong when I used to say it is not good to go by the book. So it's kind of good to go by the book to in order to collect as many data as possible for us
Mm-hmm.
to transition and go to the what part.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, yeah, just I think my advice to you is just think of them as two separate parts. We're gonna do so great in the who, and then we'll do so great in the what, and they don't necessarily have to connect.
I'm sure.
Um, and you also said you want to have like a back and forth co-facilitation.
Uh, the thing is, I am so lucky to have you right now because you're a trainer and yeah, you know what I mean. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
as you know, for me, it is my first time, as at easy as it may be, but it is kind of overwhelming for me. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, please don't take over the whole thing. Like, give me some pieces to to work with it.
I guess actually it's probably important to tell you why I'm facilitating. So you were supposed to be facilitating with Carlos, but the our partners in Mosul, the university we work with, they just got I the easiest way for me to put it is like a new dean or a new head, and they don't know what world in conversation is. So the dean is going to be watching this dialogue so that our partners can be like, this is what it is. So that's why I'm facilitating with you. Now, also, don't be nervous. It's fine. You're going to be
No,
great.
no pressure.
Also,
No
um,
pressure.
Yo, this
as,
dialogue's gonna pop for
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
it's going to be so great. And as a facilitator, I'm going to work with you. Okay. So I will give you a lot of space. I'm not going to take over. Don't worry. You are my partner in this.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
got this.
Well, it
Um,
means a lot to me.
yeah. Do you have any other
Uh,
questions?
Actually, it is better to like prepare in advance. Uh, Better prepare not and go not prepared. So I have the signpost, and
Mhm.
uh, would it okay if I start like hello, welcome to Source 119 Dialogues. I am Kadwan, and you Chiluvya, and I say welcome to the dialogues, and you say like the intention of this dialogue. So the next part me, the next part you. Okay?
Oh, sounds good. Okay. I'm trying to think. What else do we need to go over? I'm actually looking at the signpost right now too. I haven't really looked at it. Yeah, I'm excited. Hi, JD.
Hello.
Happy Thursday.
Just brings back memories. Every time anybody wishes me a happy Thursday, it's I don't know if you ever saw it when you were in school. There's the group of people that used to dress up in different costumes downtown riding bikes just wishing people happy Thursday. Like on the crazy bikes too, like yeah. It happened from like after I graduated high school and probably up until like 4 years ago. Oh. Okay. Yeah, when are you thinking we could let we have 3 people from Mosul waiting to be let in? I'm not sure how you're feeling because I was gonna put that person in the waiting room.
You're muted.
But
Chiluvya.
yeah, that too.
I'm so ready for it. Also, I'm looking at these participants, Karwan, and I don't think you can see them, but like one of our participants from Mosul is Momin.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a great dialogue. It'll be fine.
Yeah, Mo Basher is good too. If this is the same Mo Basher from last
Actually, can they hear me or not?
No, not yet.
Nope.
Yeah, my big fear is like communication. So if you, as you noticed, that most of INTS students, like we we have a bad communication with them. Like some of them had really bad English grammatically and vocabulary, like bad skills. So miscommunication is a really bad thing that I'm afraid of right now.
Yeah. I think this is going to be cool because you'll be able to help me with that, and we'll just make sure to slow things down.
Of course.
But Jay Dizzle, I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Let's start admitting.
Okay.
Hi, Jenny.
Hello.
Wow, so many familiar faces. This is exciting. Hi, Amna, Mabasher.
Hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. Hey, Amna. Hey, Jenny.
Hi.
It's been so long. How are you?
Momin, Ali, Mubashir.
Amna, what time is it for you right now?
It's almost 4 p.m.
Okay, so good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon. Hi. Oh, it's good morning to you.
So, guys, good afternoon to Iraqi students and good morning to US students. It is really good to see you guys. How are you?
We're great. How are you?
Really good. Hey, good morning, Rafael. Rafael, is it Rafael?
Yeah, it's Raphael. How are you?
Yeah, thank you. How are you?
Kind of tired. Kind of sleepy still.
Still sleepy? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little early for me. I don't usually wake up till like 11.
Well, I'm not a
Wow.
morning person myself.
What time's your first class normally?
Like
Hello
10,
everyone.
10.
Hey, Mubashir.
I'm Mo Basher.
هلا هلا
ايه
كروان.
حبيبي شلونك؟
الحمد لله بخير.
غالي حبيبي. It is really good to see so many familiar faces like
Yes,
Mubashir was
yes.
in the prep course that we took.
Yes.
And some faces that I haven't met yet, and it is honored to co-facilitate this dialogue with Chiluvya, and it is really nice
Yes.
to meet you guys, Amna and Ali, and
Nice to meet you too.
same here.
But Raphael, I was going to ask you, what time is your first class normally?
Today it's around 12:20, I think.
Wow, that's nice. Hi, Jenny. What about you? What time do you start your day?
Yeah, I usually start my day around like 12. That's when my first class is. Pretty early today.
Yeah, this is definitely different. What about for you, Mubashir? What time do you normally start your day?
Like 11, 12, I start my day.
Wow. Does anyone start their day early? Like very
No.
early?
I do.
Eh.
I don't.
Taylor, what time is very early for you?
I usually start my day around 6:30 or 7.
Oh my goodness.
I feel that. What is there? Have you always been a morning person? I know my parents both always woke up around 5 a.m. So I feel like I learned that trait. I was wondering if that was the same for yourself.
JD, you must be a morning monster.
Yeah, I wouldn't say morning master, but I definitely by 2 p.m. you'll start to notice I get a little crankier. So my best hours are in the morning.
That's it.
So, how many people here are consider themselves morning people, and how many they don't consider themselves morning people? How many hands for morning? I'm not a morning person.
Oh, I am a morning person.
Also, I just want to put in there, you don't have to necessarily wake up early to be a morning person, but like if you're somebody who's like, I'm awake and I'm ready to go, I feel like that's a morning person too.
All right. And just a quick message to all of our Penn State students right now. I think I've messaged everybody in the call right now with your attendance link. If you could just make sure to pop open your chat, hit that link. The password today is just the word ball, and the dialogue ID is always there for you to reference as well. So please make sure you fill that out before the dialogue gets started.
So, guys, I noticed some of you who there like some cameras are off. Can you guys please turn on your cameras? So it's kind of necessary. And it is okay when we start the dialogue. It is okay whenever you have a question or a statement to say, just jump in, unmute your mic, and just jump in.
Yeah. Yusuf, are you a morning person?
I try to be as productive as possible in the morning because usually if I push things off to later in the day, I never get them done. But I do end up staying up very late into the night, so I wake up very sleepy. So I wouldn't say so.
Yeah. My next question is just like, what time do people go to bed? Like, I feel like I went to bed pretty early yesterday. I think I was in bed by like 11.
Wow.
Is that early or late?
That is very early.
Actually,
When I was at Penn State, I would sleep at maybe 1, but since it's online, I sleep more like at 3 now. So
for when I say this, I can say for all Iraqi people, we sleep really late, like really, really late. I myself sleep a bit early, and I sleep 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m.
I sleep at 6 a.m. or 7.
Yeah.
Yes. Also like 5, 6 a.m.
All right. In this lull right now, Sam, if you're still in the call, I'm trying to find your screen here. There's a bunch today. Yes, you're down in the bottom left for me. I just sent you a little bit ago your attendance link. If you haven't seen it, please pop that open and fill it out before the dialogue gets started.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Riley, what about for you? What time do you normally go to bed?
I guess I'm earlier too. I'm like 11:30, and then I wake up around like 9. So I kind of keep it, but I wouldn't consider myself a night person now. I get tired pretty easily.
Wow, a huge difference in bedtime.
Yeah, I was amazed at the 5 and 6.
What about you, Rafael? Like you're still sleepy. So what time did you sleep last night?
I went to bed around like 12:30 to 1-ish.
Wow.
That's pretty early for me. I usually don't go to bed till like 1 or 2.
Wow. Uh, like, what do you do, guys? Like, stay and watch movies or go out, night out? Do you guys have night outs, or like this question is for all of you? Do you just stay in bed and watch movies, or go out for, like, let's say a bar or a park or a party or something like that?
I just study.
Yeah. Are you a night owl or more of a morning person, Taylor?
I'm like a night person.
So do you get like a lot of your studying done at night?
Yeah, I do rehearsals a lot during the day, so I don't really like I kind of have to. I think I'm more of a night person by like you had to be, not I wanted to be.
Yeah. Did you say you do rehearsals? Oh, what are you rehearsing for?
I do a lot of vocal showcases, and I'm in Mamma Mia, or not Mamma Mia. I just did Mamma Mia. I'm in Sound of Music right now.
Nice.
Wow.
That is so cool. I'm gonna say something super cliche. I watched Hamilton like a month and a half ago, and I've probably watched it 7 times since. It's very good.
I'm trying to get tickets to go see it at some point. I
Well,
want to. I want to go see Hamilton really bad.
does everyone know what Hamilton is?
No, if Taylor could explain it for us, it would be
Yeah.
really great.
Or
Well,
actually, maybe
I just
even
wanted to let you know I have all of the Penn State attendance, so I'm gonna shut off my screen and you guys just rock what you're doing right now.
great, City.
Great,
Maybe
thank
even
you.
Riley. Have you seen it? Because I saw you nodding your head.
Yeah, so Hamilton, it was made in 2016. It's a musical about the founding father Alexander Hamilton. So it's a long show. It's really cool, good stuff. It's a musical though.
Hmm. Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, actually, really cool. A musical about Hamilton. I didn't know it was existed.
It's very good. Do you want to get us started, Carwan?
Yeah, let us start. Just give me a moment, and it's just a moment. So, uh, guys, welcome to Source 19 Dialogues. I am Karwan.
And I'm Chiluvya.
We will be your dialogue facilitators.
Yep. The intention of this dialogue is to continue the examination of a topic initiated in Social 119 and to give you the opportunity to respond to the content discussed in class. Our goal for these 90 minutes is to think about this topic together from as many different angles as possible.
So today our specific focus will be social categories. Remember, this is a conversation, so we expect everyone to play an active role. Please jump in with a question or a comment whenever you are inspired. As a facilitator, we will ask questions and make connections. We make sure everyone gets a chance to contribute meaningfully.
Before we get to the topic, we're going to start with a question that will help us to see a little about each other's backgrounds.
So the question is, describe your last trip to a public library in your hometown. Guys, feel free to jump in whenever you want to. What about you, Raphael? You're trying to say something, if I'm not mistaken? So guys, does anybody wants to start?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Hello, Mohammed Ghassan.
My name Yes, my name is Muhammad Ghassan. I'm from Mosul University, Translation Department. About the library topic, right now in Mosul, as you may know, we don't have a lot of libraries due to the ISIS occupation from 4 years, 5 years ago, sorry. They burned most of our libraries, and especially the library in the University of Mosul. It was one of the biggest libraries in Iraq. It has many resorts and books that was really rare. They burned some, they stole some, and right now it's still devastating, and it's under construction, I think, now. But we have some small libraries in our hometown. And one example, most of the times when you want to,
Mohammed,
when you go, yes.
can you actually tell us a little bit more about the occupation of ISIS?
Well, it was 3 years of hell for us, to put it
What does that
simply.
mean specifically for you? Like, what changed when?
Well, what changed? 3 years wasted from our lives, from our study lives, for example. A lot of our friends and loved ones died, either from bombing or from execution by ISIS, from kidnapping. Thousands and thousands of people right now are still missing to this day. Until 2 days ago, they published a list of 300, I think, 300 Iraqi prisoners from ISIS. They were in Syria. They took them to Syria with them. So it was 3 years of hell.
So, Muhammad, can you tell us intellectually the impact that ISIS had on Mosul? Can you elaborate on that or explain it a bit more?
Well, I think the most. Can you hear me, guys? I think I have a problem with my mic.
No, we're good.
Okay. Well, for me personally, I think we became to appreciate life more. You know, when you see death constantly, daily. For example, in 1 hour, I think I said goodbye to my 2 cousins and 10 of their friends. And the next hour, I heard they're all dead, just like that. So we became to appreciate life more, and we became to know each other more. You know, in hard times, you know your friends and enemies.
Truly unfortunate what happened to your cousin, and what I meant by that is the ISIS impact on the yearly academics of Mosul and intellectually. That's what I meant.
Academic, it's really was bad for us. You know, as I said, 3 years of our academic life in every academic state, from school to university, were erased. You know, they didn't count it. So, for example, when I personally passed the 6th grade in university, the year that ISIS got out of Mosul, the year of liberation, there was a lot of people to get accepted to our university. So it made, let's say, you know, everything is portion and demand, offer and demand, sorry. The offer was too much for the demand was too much for the offer. Let's say there was about 100,000 students and only 50,000 seats in the university. A lot of students didn't get accepted in the university.
Mohammed, thank you so much for getting us started. I would love to hear from some other people. I'm actually looking at Jenny. Can you describe your last trip to the public library in your hometown?
Yeah, it was probably like many years ago. My school district would open in the summer, so like my elementary school, middle school, high school, and then like I would go to the library and like take out some books to read. I'm not necessarily sure it was public, like open to everyone. It might have just been to the students of the school district, but yeah, I remember seeing a lot of people there, and we were able to like check out books and take them home and then return them after like a week or two.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in North Wales. It's a suburb outside of Philadelphia.
And do you know, was it common for like other school districts to open up during the summer?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Who else would like to answer it? We're going to try to hear from everyone, so you can go ahead and answer it now, or you can wait for me to pick on you.
Yeah, because we will. How about our Iraqi participants? Amna, what about you?
My last trip to the library, it wasn't that interesting because myself, I'm not that interested in books. Even if I want to read something, I read on the phone. My last one was to the university's library. I went with my friends. They wanted to buy some novels and they wanted to buy some dictionaries and other books for like one of our friends had a research, so we bought her some books and that's it. And we don't have that much interesting books, but I think by time they're getting more like rich and interesting things to read. So I hope I can go again after like coronavirus and all.
So, can you describe a typical library in Mosul and how does it look?
I think it's not that big, the university library, but we had a large one before ISIS. I haven't seen it, but the building from outside looks so big. But when ISIS came and the bombing and things like that, it got burned and it's run down right now. But they're working on fixing it, and I don't know when it will be done, but I think in next year or 2 more years it will be done and opened again.
Great. What about Mubashir?
Yes, hi. Last time I go, like it's like before 1 year ago when I was studying college, I go to a small library, not so much big. It's not inside the college, outside nearby our college, to buy a grammar book for my study. Like I go inside so much huge books of grammar. I choose only one. It's recommended by our the professor, and I bought it and like this. I'm not really a bookish man, like I'm so much reading book.
I heard you and Amna say that you went to buy books rather than like to rent, the way that Jenny was
Yes,
talking about it. Are there places for you to just like borrow a book?
I think inside our university we can borrow books by our ID cards of college, but I prefer to like keep it to myself because I will study. So I go and buy one book for me.
So, for Iraqi participants, just to clarify for the US participants, as you know, guys, like in US or in some cities in Iraq, we have state libraries or public libraries, not just university libraries. So, in Mosul, do you guys go to public library or just to the university libraries to borrow books or buy books from outside in the shops?
There are actually both. A lot of my friends like to read, so they go like to a lot of libraries in Mosul, but I haven't been there. But I've seen their stories and pictures about the libraries, and they're actually next to the university, like across the street. So there are many of them, and they have like old books from like very old times and new books, and it has different things. But in our university, there are more than one library, like the department or our college library. And like you can actually borrow books there, like for your research, if you have to do a report and stuff like that. And the other one where we buy books from the university, it's like there, it's just general for everyone. So you should just like buy it, and it has different things, not only like for studying, like novels, different books about everything. So you can just buy them. But in your like college, you can borrow the books.
So, what about some other participants who we have yet to hear from? Yusuf Barakat?
Yeah, sure. The last time I went to a library, I think was fall of freshman year, which was last fall. Um, I was pledging a business fraternity, and we had a case competition to do. So we signed up for paper.
What's a business fraternity?
Uh, it's basically like there's like this business like fraternity like conference at Penn State, and there are like 5 business fraternities that are part of it, and you basically like rush with your qualifications, and then you get invited to like come into like this like there's one general rush event, and then one that's invite only, and then like an interview process. And if you get in, then the pledging process is basically just doing a ton of mock interviews and resume workshops, and you go to these like professional like development events and things like that, just to teach you how to conduct yourself and to refine your professional skills.
And you were saying you were looking for a book in relations to your business fraternity?
I was working on a case study. Part of the pledging process, they made us partake in a case study as a pledge class, and so they gave us one company that was acquiring another company, and they asked us to create a presentation on what type of synergies and what type of like how you can like amalgamate both of them in a way that's like the most beneficial. And so I went to the library with the people I was partnered with for us to work through that.
I'm wondering for other Penn State students, how often do you all go to like your university library? Because we're hearing a lot of our friends in Iraq are saying like their university library was burnt down and now they're waiting on it being rebuilt. So I'm wondering how often you all go to your university library.
Before before online classes, I would go like my freshman year. I would go at least like a couple times a week because it was just a good way to get out of the dorm and kind of be able to focus. But now with online classes, I kind of stay in my apartment more and in my room to do all my classes, which isn't as good. But I guess I don't go as more, but I used to go a couple times during the week.
So for the
And just what would your answer? Oh, go ahead, Carwan.
Go ahead, Chiluvya.
I was just going to ask Riley what your answer to the first question would be.
Yeah, so in my hometown, I used to go a lot when I was little to borrow books. I just remember like going to pick out like a weird cookbook, whatever, like I think I was like 6 or 7. It was just to understand what a library really was, but I really never utilized it to use books because I feel like it changed a lot, and I ended up just buying a bunch of novels and stuff because if I were to read, it would take me longer than the 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so a while ago I asked a bunch of friends about their use of library. So I'm sure in US there are a lot of cafeterias or things like that in the library. So do you guys just go to borrow books and study, or like grab a bite and sit down with a friend? Like, how many of you do that actually? Like, only go for a study or sit down with friends and things? Can somebody tell us some of their experience in the libraries? Like, how
For
about,
me,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it's just like my experience, but I feel like in America we don't like you can go study with your friends at the library, but I feel like libraries are more like a quiet place, so you don't really like go hang out so much as like you're there and you like you'll claim you'll study, like you might not actually study, but the idea is to study.
Yeah, I've been to the library once this semester. And like I had to take class, but I did notice that like there was a good amount of volume like in the library. So it wasn't like too quiet.
How about some other participants? Yazid?
Yeah. Honestly, if I go to a library, it'll probably be just for doing assignments. But yeah, I don't really usually go. So yeah.
So when you
Where do
have,
you normally get your oh
go ahead, go ahead.
where do you normally do your assignments?
So usually I do them in my dorm room. But if my roommate, it's like I had some friends over, I would go to a public library. Uh, much like the Penn State one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is it common for people that you go to school with to live in dorm rooms?
Yeah, because we were last year it was my freshman year, so I had to live in a dorm room. Yeah.
How about Islam? Is it Islam?
Yes, it's Islam, yes, sir.
Islam Yasser. So, like the original question was, describe your last trip to a public library in your hometown. Can we go back to that? Can you tell me some of that, something about that?
Sure, it was kind of boring. A few months ago, me and my friend Mubashir is here in Wing with us, decided to go to the library looking for a grammar book. And when we went there, unfortunately, we couldn't find our book, and all the copy was sold out. So just we turn around and back to our university with a smile face in our faces.
So, like how many sections do you guys have in the library at your university? Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Well, when I get in the Mosul University, our library was broke down, so I don't know anything about it, unfortunately.
So right now, do you guys go to a public library or the university library if you go to?
Actually, we went every time when we need to read a book or buy a book, we went just to a bookstore, not a library.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a big library because the Mosul occupied and all the things that Muhammad has said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering for the students at Penn State, it sounds like a lot of you are saying you've been to the library, you studied at the library, but do you all borrow books from the Penn State Library, or how do you get your textbooks?
I don't think I've ever borrowed any books from the library, but normally how I'll get my books is I'll go on like online and research the book to see like where's the cheapest option and go to one of the locations on campus or go off at Amazon and either rent them or buy them and then like sell them back for like a used book or something.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can get like online versions of textbooks for very cheap. So like I feel the use of like a paperback textbook is kind of going down.
Mm-hmm.
What about for you, Jenny? Where do you normally get your textbooks?
Yeah, I have never borrowed from the Penn State Library. I usually go find like free PDFs of like any textbooks I need. I know the Penn State Library lets you like borrow textbooks, but I think probably only for a limited amount of time, and I prefer like having more time with a textbook because usually you want like a semester worth of time to like have that textbook with you. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So for Iraqi students in Mosul, do you guys only go to the only go to your university library, or do you guys go to like shops and other sources like public library in order to get a book?
For me, I never go to the public or university library in my university. All the time I go outside to buy one. Like outside, it's a private, like a bookstore. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, can we hear from Momin? Hello?
Oh, I think Moment might just be helping
Moment's
to support.
he's just here to observe. Sorry, I didn't mention that earlier.
It's okay.
No worries.
It's okay. Well, let's.
But we can go ahead and transition if you'd like to.
Yeah, it is. It's about time actually.
Mm-hmm.
We go to. Do you like to mention the statement or say the question?
Sure. So now we're going to transition to a statement related to what you were discussing in class. The goal is to examine this statement from as many angles as possible, which means we need each of you to say different things from each other. And Karwan, do you want to say the statement?
Yeah, so the statement is, historically, humans have been a very flawed way of putting people into categories, but we are doing it more and more. So this is the statement, and free to jump in, guys. Okay, you sent it to the group. Well done. So,
Yeah. What are some first thoughts of this statement? And feel free to think out loud with us.
guys, it is okay to assume out loud. We're all here to learn, and please participate.
Yeah, just like my first thoughts, people like, people want to find people that are similar to them. They want to like be in the same groups as them. Like people like the idea of like a group aspect of things.
Okay.
What have you like seen that tells you that people like the idea of group aspects?
Just so like they can share like their sentiments with each other. Like, for example, just like sharing stories, finding similarities with one another. Like we like people who are similar to us. Like that's how like, we like to talk to them. Like we like to be in the same groups as them. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. So can you you started with you are the first participant to answer that. Can you explain it more and give us some example if you could?
An example of what?
Example of the group aspects that you mentioned before.
Yeah, can I think about that for like
I'll take your time. And in the meantime, if there's anybody who wants to start, feel free to start. It is okay to assume out loud. And
well, for me, I just think I think the world is very complicated, and there are a lot of people from different walks of life, and so I think the easiest way for us to process our environments is to compartmentalize people into like specific groups, to sort of water down who they are and simplify it into like very identifiable characteristics, which is what leads to things like stereotypes. And so, although it is flawed, it from a pragmatic sense, it does make sense that we do that. But I think now, especially with like social media and the internet and that sort of thing, we're seeing a lot more of the commonalities, and there's a lot more like overlap of interests and of like cultural norms and things like that that we didn't experience before. And I think that the best way to fight that sort of false categorization is through like educating yourself and like exposing yourself to different cultures and different like to a lot of diversity, basically, because I think the reason why we simplify or we stereotype or we alienate our other like groups of people is because we don't understand them. And so it's easy for someone from the Middle East to like demonize someone from the West, or someone from the West to like not really understand someone from like the Far East and things like that. So I think as we get exposed
Yusuf, actually, you said something a little bit ago. You said, although it is flawed, I understand why it exists. And I'm like, how do you know that it's flawed?
because they're like human beings are very complicated, but we simplify what they like, who they are and their identities, and so we like mischaracterize people, or we make very like broad stroke assumptions about who they are. So that usually leads to, you know, very flawed judgments and perceptions of others.
Okay. So let's hear from Jenny. Jenny, what do you think about what Yusuf said?
Yeah, I agree. Like we have, like we tend to put people into categories. He mentioned about like social media, and I agree. Like I think the media is like impacts this more and more these days. Especially like you can see like a video of someone doing something, and then you might associate like people who are similar to that person doing the same thing. Like for example, like a police. You know, we've seen like videos of police brutality, and then we might think, okay, like all police are like that. But like in class, we talked about how it's not like all black and white. And yeah, I think like just educating yourself will help you, you know, not put people into certain categories.
Okay.
Yeah, to that point, that kind of made me think of like an example of group aspects. Like recently, I feel like we've been like tending to group like all police together, and then sometimes like victims of police brutality will like group themselves together and like have a unified, you know, kind of group.
Excuse me, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, so like with to Jenny's point, I feel like for in the group aspect of things, like we've been grouping police together, and then like those who are kind of like against police brutality, those who like have maybe like counterpoints to that, who don't think police brutality is a problem, like those have been like different groups. I'm sad.
Okay, so
No, what? So I was just gonna bring Amna in and say, like, what were your first thoughts to the statement?
My first thoughts were like, this is actually true. Like, we tend to put people in groups, and which is, I really think it's wrong. Like, when you just divide people or like put them in the same category, you might not know them or truly know who they are. So you might put them in a place that they are not actually in. Like you see someone, you spoke to him even once or twice, and you see, oh, this person is similar to this person, or maybe you think he's similar to you. But and then you said that he's from this group, he is like this, but it's actually not like if you get to know these people, if you talk to them, you see their thoughts and their like maybe intentions or maybe anything that you want to like think about that person, we can see it's wrong. So you can't just.
I'm going to ask this question to you first, and then I'm going to ask it to the whole group. But what's a group or a category that people put you in?
Like for example.
Did you hear me? My internet is.
Oh yes, I heard you.
Oh, no.
I think at university they used to think that I am an introvert, like I don't like talking to people, and I don't know, like I'm angry all the time, but they don't know me. So yeah, Mubashir, you're the one who said that. And then I just thought that this is weird. They don't really know me, and they just think that like I don't like talking to people and I don't like them, but actually, I'm just shy and I didn't get used to talking to anyone before. And I think they changed their minds after getting like to know me. So this is like a simple example for these things.
Actually, I still want you guys to answer what Chiluvya asked. I kind of know what people think about you, like in order like categorizing groups. Feel free to jump in, guys.
May I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the first impression of most of my friends right now, including Amina, Mubashir, and Islam, who are with us right now, the first time they
Hello.
Oh.
Ahmed.
I think he's been having difficulties. If he comes back, we'll have him participate. But what about Islam? What are some categories that people put you into?
Yes. Well, a lot of people describe me as an isolated person and not social. Don't talk to people a lot. Just especially in the university, I just sit alone or with a little friends like Mubashir or Muhammad, and don't talk much with people. And I think this is kind of true. I don't like to talk with people a lot.
I want to challenge you all, and I'm going to challenge everyone. I feel like introverted is the easy category to pick. What are some not so easy categories that people put you into? We can start with Yusuf.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Sure. So I've heard from Amna and Islam that people in some ways call them introverted or quiet. And I'm like, that's the easy way to talk about this, y'all. What are some not so easy categories that people put you into?
Not so easy categories. I mean, I'm a lot of types of minorities. I'm from have a Muslim background. I'm Egyptian. I'm an immigrant.
Actually, just a moment, Yusuf. Let's make it a bit harder. Aside of racial groups, other difference, like other groups.
I mean, I do kind of have the same sort of, I guess, issue as Emna, where very quickly assume that I'm unapproachable. I think my resting face looks aggressive, and so I think people sort of make the assumption that I'm a very like standoffish person. So I think I'm sort of categorized as a person that you don't like really come near. I'm not friendly or that sort of thing, and so I often actively have to work to like really present myself as someone who's friendly and approachable and smile a lot and that sort of thing, just to get people to be comfortable, like, you know, being themselves and talking to me and that sort of thing. And so I was also like, to sort of mention the other point too, I thought I was like born introverted and that I would always be sort of isolated. But I think one thing coming to Penn State that I wanted to do was to like really focus on being as outgoing as possible and to try to meet as many people and to make as many friends as I can. And so I think a big part of my Penn State experience has been sort of fighting against other people's categorizations of me to try to like break that sort of immediate first impression or assumption and try to, you know, make it my own and take ownership of who I am.
Okay, that was Yusuf's answer. So do we have anybody who wants to answer Chiluvya's question regarding the groupification? Mohammed came back.
Hey, sorry, I have an internet connection problem.
That's okay.
The first impression of most of my friends is, I hate you. This guy is unlikable. You can't like this guy. You know, but after a while, they get to know me better. They started to like me. Oh, we didn't know you were like that. You thought you were an ego. You thought you were some guy who just liked to stand up and show himself. They didn't just know me. So I think the first impression mostly doesn't count. You should know the person before you judge him.
Thank you for answering that question. But Chiluvya asked a question, and what do you think that people put you in? What category do you think people put you? So, do we have anybody, or Muhammad, you want to go?
No, it's okay. Let someone go ahead.
Really, what about you?
And I am gonna say, I don't want it to be like about how people say that, you know, you're introverted and stuff like that. Like, what are the more difficult ways that people categorize you?
I would say ungrateful, like maybe not having some struggles as others and immediately thinking that it was easy when other times, like, I'm very grateful for where I am and the opportunities I got.
Like, let us make it a bit easier for them, Chiluvya. Like, let me ask you this question, Chiluvya. In what category do you think people put you in?
Well, since I'm facilitating, I'm definitely not going to answer that. But I feel like someone else, I think Yusuf was going down it. I think, Yusuf, you said that you're very minoritized. Is that what you said? Can you say more about that?
Sure. I think coming to so I didn't come to the US for Penn State. I actually immigrated here in 2016. So I went through junior and senior year of high school in New Jersey, which is where I am right now, and then I went to Penn State. And I immigrated from private British school in Egypt, where there were 50 people per class, to here, which is a majority Jewish town with 500 people in a class, and it's a public school. And so it was pretty much the stark opposite of where I come from. And so people have had very little exposure to people of my background, and so it was very easy for people to assume a lot about me, especially since a lot had happened in Egypt, from like the Egyptian revolution and like coups of dictators and like a lot of like, you know, very alien stuff to people from America and stuff that they had not been exposed to. And so I think a lot of people made very broad stroke assumptions about me early on, and it was a full-time job trying to get people to sort of break out of that mold and to get people to actually like see who I am, and for me to like I said, sort of like take ownership of my identity and present myself how I want to present myself and not how people have made like assumptions about me. And so that was definitely an experience. And then I had to do that again, less so at Penn State because it is 45,000 undergrads and there are people from all over the place, but it was still pretty much the same thing where you know, being an immigrant, people have expectations in terms of like I often people one of the first things they tell me is like, oh wow, you speak such good English for an immigrant, or you know, like I didn't expect you to be this like good or understand this like part of American culture, that sort of thing. And so I think people highlight, like it's easy for you to highlight or to see the differences between you and other people than to see the similarities. And so I felt like my job in a social like environment was to sort of draw attention to the similarities, to sort of break down people's like barriers and apprehensions, and then it was easier for me to like form relationships and get closer to people and that sort of thing.
Thanks for that. I'm wondering now, Raphael, based on like what's been shared in the dialogue so far, what are you thinking about?
Honestly, I'm just thinking about how in my hometown I'm very marginalized, but honestly, sometimes I'm not put into a category of a minority. It's more of a me being somewhat outgoing, but at the same time very private with my friends. I feel like they always put me into a group of I would go out all the time, but I would keep some stuff personal. You know what I mean? And just putting people in categories like that honestly throws me off a little. I don't like doing that. So sometimes I really
Raphael,
reject that.
I'm wondering, when you first started talking, you said that you are marginalized, and how do you see yourself being marginalized?
From where I come from, Kennett Square, PA, it's majority white, so sometimes I feel there are times where people put me into groups specifically that I don't necessarily belong in, even if it has a basis in fact. Sometimes it feels a little wrong per se.
So I want to take what Raphael said and go back to the original question. And the original question was, historically, humans have a very flawed way of putting people into categories, but we're doing it more and more. So the question is, why we're still doing it and doing it more and more than before?
So I think people put other people into categories because it makes like you feel safe almost. So like I think we kind of tend to look at people who aren't like us or who like we don't understand and we go, oh well there's something other, and it makes you feel safer to be like, oh well you're not like them because they're like this. So I think that's why we do it, especially with the increased like globalization that goes on like now. I think people come in contact with people who aren't similar to them a lot, which is why it happens more, I guess.
So you think that it is related to security and nothing more. So do we have any other participants who think otherwise, or do anybody else like contrary beliefs or anything like that? Like, let's say Ali Youssef, we haven't heard of him yet. Hello?
Oh, I think he might just be watching the dialogue.
Okay. So, Sam, what about you? What do you think about that?
Sorry, about what specifically?
So Taylor said it is something related to security, and we feel more secure when we categorize or groupify people. So is it related to security or anything other than that, or do you think like it has like is it correlated to anything other than that?
I would definitely say security is definitely part of the mentality to like group yourself with like other people, just because, as I was saying earlier, like people, yeah, people when people are in groups, they feel safer, you know, because there's like obviously so many, you know, different groups out there, so many people out there, and when people are in a group, they can like it's just like a group mentality. Like they have people to like back them up and to support them, and it makes them feel like safer in their viewpoints, I would say.
So, uh, Amna, what do you think about what just Sam said?
I think it's right. Like sometimes when you group people for like, so you can like feel that these people you can't get along with. So this is why you put them into groups. Like this group is people like me who I can feel right. I can talk to them the way I want. And the other people that you put in the other group who are people that you just don't feel like you get comfortable with. So this is actually how I think about it right now. But it's actually, you can say that humans, like it's human nature. Like people tend to do that, like not if just they want to, it's just like I don't know how to explain. Like humans can't do that on purpose. It's just how you divide people unconsciously. Like these people are like this and like that. Even if you try sometimes to stop this categorizing thing, it's just like into you. Like you can't stop it forever or completely.
So it is something that we do instinctively and
Yes.
subconsciously. So, do we have any
It
other?
sounds like it sounds like we're talking about, okay, we're saying yes, humans group people, and also we're saying, and that's bad. And I'm wondering, Mobashir, like, if humans do it instinctively, how do we know that it's bad?
I think the same thing said Amina. First impression that we give made the base thing for the caregivers people. Like if you have bad impression for a person, you will put him in caregiver. Maybe he is not with that. And what was your question again?
I'm asking, how do you know that grouping humans is bad if we're saying that humans do it instinctively?
I think our humans, like why we should put it in categories. Like most of important that humans know why we need to put them like this.
Can I join?
Yeah, go ahead, Amna. Feel free to join in.
For me, I think it's wrong. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Feel free to join in whenever you want to.
Thank you. I think it's wrong because it's like you're judging people. Like sometimes not their nature, not their true. Like sometimes, like you judge their intentions. Maybe it's not their intentions, not their true self. Especially if you don't know these people like up close, and then you just put them in a category that they don't fit in. So even though it's like a human nature, you have to like stop it. Even though if you think like by heart, you can't like maybe spread it about that person or just think about it until you get to know that person and then decide if that person deserves like your first thoughts. You can't just jump in and judge everyone you see.
May I jump in?
Of course.
Oh, hold on one
First
second,
of all,
Mohammed. Taylor was
okay.
trying to unmute, and then you'll go next.
Go, it's okay. Okay. So what I was gonna say is I kind of like I agree that it's not great, but I kind of disagree with how like you guys are saying like I think you should just kind of like ditch your first thought until like after you've met someone, because I feel like that's almost like I've always been taught like your first thought is just like what you've been conditioned to think, and then how you decide to act on that thought is like who you are. So I feel like putting people into categories, like we said, is kind of like human nature. Like you can't stop it, you're going to do it naturally. But I think what makes it bad is when you choose to treat someone differently than how you would want to be treated because of that category. Like we were talking about earlier with everyone like grouping the police and stuff like into like categories and being like, oh well, all police are like this. And like yeah, like I've had bad experiences with the police in the past, but I've also had good experiences with it. So like while I may look at the police and like I may not trust them, that doesn't mean I'm going to act like distrustful immediately. I think you need to let people show that, but like you need to recognize the thought. Like just having it and like pushing it aside doesn't help anyone. It's more of how do you choose to act once you've had the thought.
I think it's actually the same thing with Muslims because everyone thinks that all of us are the same as ISIS, like terrorists and explosions, war, but we're actually different. So this is an example for what like is happening about what Taylor said. So I think she's right as well.
I feel like this goes a lot with humans being comfortable and just being almost lazy in a sense, to not being like not wanting to reach out and get out of their comfort zone to learn about other people and their diversity. Because I feel like almost in our lives, I know Sam mentioned this in one lecture, is that we're kind of taught to acknowledge people are different, but almost ignore it. Like when you see someone in a wheelchair, you're like, okay, like you think to yourself they're in a wheelchair, but you're almost taught to ignore it when you should like not encourage it, but like understand that they're there, but it doesn't define who they are.
Mohammed, I know you've been trying to talk for a while. What would you like to add?
First of all, let's address the elephant in the room, like they say. Categorization is bad. There's no two ways about it. You know, for example, when you categorize someone, you look down on them. Put yourself in their shoes. What will you feel when someone look down at you? So it's kind of hurt your feeling. You should not categorize people at any way. Just being human. That's the only categorization that's matter. It's in human nature to categorize people since the ancient history. But unfortunately, it's getting worse and worse by each year. So I think we should work on it. We should work on decategorization.
And since you brought that up, what is the best way to decategorize or degroup a group that is already there? Or what is the best solution? Though this is not the question, it is kind of subtopic, but since you brought it up, can you give us, elaborate on that a bit more?
Well, I think we should encourage people to get involved in other people, you know, from different color, region, nationality, gender. It doesn't matter. You should know the people just a human. You should know. You should, let's say, treat the people in front of you as a human being, not as based on their gender or their color or their nationality or whatever, or even their health status. If he is in a wheelchair, he could be a good person. It's not necessarily that he's in a wheelchair or he's poor or she's ugly. It doesn't mean that they are bad people. You should encourage people to involve more.
Jenny, I'm hearing Taylor and Mohammed are saying two different things, and I'm wondering, what are you hearing them say?
I think so Mohammed was more forward with saying like it's just bad altogether to categorize, whereas Taylor was saying that you just shouldn't act on like your first thoughts about the person. So that's what I'm kind of hearing. And I guess like what I think is like, even though we categorize people instinctively, you know, our instincts can be wrong and we know that. So I think the best way is just like to be educated and just, you know, get to know other people, other like categories that you put them in, and, you know, realize like, you know, they might not just be in that category.
And I'm wondering for everyone, I'm going to start with Jenny, but this is a question for everyone. How do you get educated? How do you like stop categorizing people?
So I think the best way is like just to get to know the people. It's best if you like know them personally, but like even if you
and Jenny, as you talk and you're saying like them, the people, like what are you imagining?
I was like thinking of an example, like I have a relative who's like going through like cancer treatment, and then like I hadn't like had no knowledge of like how much they were going through, and like but like I was reading a lot about like the different treatments and stuff, and I just felt like, oh, okay, I'm like starting to understand like all of like the things this person is going through. So like I kind of like thought about like extending that. So like, you know, you just, for example, like you talked about the police, you know, just read about both sides to it, think about it, and then obviously to people in general, you know, don't just like be narrow-minded, I guess, like trying to, you know, expand and realize that, you know, there's more to what you initially thought.
So we haven't heard a lot from
So I
Mu'min.
think
Oh, go ahead, Muhammad.
I prefer more forward approach. If you wanna change the society, you should start with yourself first. You know, if you are a person who categorizes someone, you should uncategorize them and try to involve yourself in other people you didn't know before. So you should start with yourself, and then you should change society. Even you have to do it one by one.
I agree that you have to kind of start. Oh, sorry.
No, go
I
ahead,
agree that
Taylor.
you have to start with yourself, but I also kind of think like how you just said like, and I mean I don't know if maybe I just like misunderstood, but Mohammed, you were saying kind of like you just have to stop categorizing people, like full stop. I think that's like a nice idea in theory, but I think like when you go to practice that, I feel like that's not really gonna like work, because like yeah, like maybe your instincts aren't great, like Jenny was saying, but they're still instincts. So you like, I think you kind of are gonna like, it's gonna be like a long process to undo that, and I feel like it's gonna.
The person cannot change day overnight. The travel of the 1,000 miles starts with a step. It's a process. It doesn't just sleep. Oh, I decided to uncategorize the people all of a sudden. So I woke up the next morning. Oh, I know everyone. I will not categorize people anymore. You just can't do it. Just it's not a button. You should work on it. It's a process.
Muhammad, though the direction of the conversation or the dialogue between you and Taylor is kind of interesting, but I was kind of interested to hear from the whole group, and what is the best way of decategorization? Like, do you enforce it on people, or what is the way? Like, if there's a mechanism, what would it be? Guys, please feel free to join in.
I would definitely say one of the best ways that like I've thought of is just having conversations with people who are different than you, who are in different like categories than you, and just talking to them. Yeah, see the human in them, and you know, just find similarities and see that, yeah, while we might have differences, we're also similar, and like we should celebrate our differences. We're definitely like people are bound to be different, and people are bound to be in like different categories, like when you think about race and that kind of stuff, like where you're from. But I feel like we should just like acknowledge them, but also celebrate it and not use it as like a tool of
So,
like differentiation or something like that.
so the question.
Hold on one second, Karan. I'm actually wondering, Yazid, what are you thinking right now?
If it's about decategorization, I feel like yeah, interacting with people is probably the best option you can have right now. Yeah, try to meet new people that you haven't seen before. Yeah, I mostly agree with those things.
How do you find people that are different from you? How do you interact with new people? If we're at the beginning of this dialogue, we said humans love to be around people that look like them.
I feel like yeah, I feel like skin color would affect much here, since yeah, in the US it's mostly white people. So
wait, where are you, Yazid?
I'm in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like it affects. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you're saying so skin color is something in the U.S., but what's something that like differentiates people in Saudi Arabia?
I don't think there is anything really. I mean, if it's someone from outside the country, it could be, but mostly there's nothing that differentiates.
So, even though that you are in Saudi Arabia, Yazid, there must be categories and groups, and we have that in all places. So, where do you find yourself in these groups? What do people consider you?
Honestly,
and some other groups, as Chiluvya said, if you can mention some for us, there must be.
honestly, I feel like I could go down to family groups. Cause yeah, previously in the past, people would fight over their family names. It's like, hey, you're from this family side, we're better than you or something. So I feel like that's a big thing. It could be around until now, but I'm not really sure about that.
Okay.
Riley, I think it was you who first said like people like to be around people that are similar to them. What are your thoughts on like how we get outside of the groups that are comfortable?
I think a lot of it's going with making almost not a force, but having that opportunity. Like, I know where I grew up. I grew up in a very like suburban white neighborhood. My high school had a lot of African Americans, but like we never had a lot of different, I guess, cultures and stuff for me to really learn until I got to college and have experiences like this. And I think having your experience like this and like the Social 119 class are what really allows you to get educated and finally be able to meet people and understand kind of everyone how to learn different cultures and appreciate them as well, to be able to branch out from your own little bubble.
So let's hear from Mubashir. Mubashir, what do you think about the question till
Yes,
now? What do you have to offer?
about this characterizing, I think best way to make friends. I think best way to make friends, to get involved with anybody you see is different from you. Really, that is the best way. And I think best way also is by governmental way, like to teach is not like from student from they are young is like no one is better than another one. It's like all you together for me.
But you can be different and still you can be friends. As if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, was it Yusuf who said like I don't know, was it Rafael who said that difference should be cherished and it is good to be different. So uh, the thing was like the when it comes like we should go back to the like origin of the question. Like, is it like groupification or categorization? Like all in all, is it all bad? Like, is there something good to it, or it is totally bad, or I think that we were focusing on like how to change it or how to like we can find some other angles to work on that specific statement.
This question for me? Yes, it's good to be different.
Actually, it is for you and for all of the group. Like, guys, feel free to join in. I don't want to call in names, but it is a dialogue and we're all in it. So feel free to join in. Continue, Mubashir.
Good to be different, but it's not make you be categorized people to levels or groups. It's really, for me, in my perspective, it's bad. We are all in the end humans.
I think there definitely can be some good things. Like it's not I don't think categorization as a whole is great, but I think when you categorize yourself almost, because I feel like people put so many people put other people into categories so often that I think especially nowadays we've kind of started to put ourselves into categories a little bit. And I think sometimes like people like that can make you feel almost like I can't remember who said it at the beginning, but somebody said something like, yeah, when you're with people who have the same ideas and thoughts and stuff, like you feel safer. And I think we like going back to that, I think categories can like make you feel like they can be good because they give you a sense of like unity with other people.
I do want to backtrack a little bit to what we were talking about before. It sounded like we were talking about, it's very easy to meet people and just go out and like meet people that are different from you. And I'm wondering if it's so easy, why is it that we're categorizing people more and more now?
Well, for like one thing, I feel not everyone has the opportunity to go to a school like Penn State, like go to sign up for a class like this, and then like have the opportunity to have this and like talk to people who are different than you. So that might be one thing. Like trying to increase, actually trying to increase like the amount of classes like sociology, like and just have these dialogues, more often and across the country and across the world.
What are some other barriers that we're seeing? Islam, what are some things that are like that you're seeing that are making it difficult to meet people outside of the groups you're in? Nope. Can you hear me, Islam? Maybe not.
Is the question for me? Sorry.
No, it's for Islam.
Okay, that's fine.
Hello, Islam.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay. What are some barriers? Go ahead.
What is the question, please?
What are some barriers that are making it difficult for you to meet people outside of the groups you're in?
Well, can you explain the question more for me, please? I think I didn't get your question.
Yeah, it sounds like we were talking about, just go outside of the groups that you're in to meet new people. And I'm wondering what makes it difficult to do that, because humans are categorizing more and more now.
You mean by travel outside, or?
It can be travel, it can be anything. What are you seeing? What's difficult?
Like what my colleague said, what Chiluvya said, is there any obstacles to go and try out to befriend or hang out with new friend outside of your group or circle? If you know what I meant by that.
Yeah, well, I think it's all about the people I talk or my friends. If I want to go outside, if I can't bring my friends with me, this will be difficult for me. I can't talk to strange people. I don't love that. That's what I'm trying to say. This is the difficult.
Can you please repeat that? I kind of misheard something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love to talk to people or to the strange. So if I need to go to another place or to another country or travel, I want to bring my friends with me, and to make things easier. I don't like, to be with the strange or with people I don't know them well. This is the difficult for me.
So I want to ask the same question what Chiluvya said to our participants in the US. What about Jenny? What do you think?
So as for the barrier question, I think we talked about the environment before. I think that is like a really important like obstacle. Like, if you grew up in a place which is not so diverse, then you don't have as many opportunities to meet new people. And then, as Islam said, like you yourself can also be a barrier. Like if you don't you want to go out and meet new people, then obviously you won't. So I think those are two barriers that I can think of.
So I'm kind of curious about what would Yusuf say. Yusuf, you're a child. You were born in Middle East and you moved to US. And can you tell us about that and the barrier and the obstacle question?
I think one thing that I noticed, which was kind of counterintuitive, was that the more people you're surrounded by, the more you tend to like form cliques and like small groups and stick to them. So in Egypt, when we had 50 people in my graduating class, we all knew each other incredibly well and we grew up together. And so I was close with practically all 50 of them. But when I moved to the US and there were 500 kids in the class, people were like in very like fixed small groups of like 4 or 5 people, and they never broke out of those groups. And so coming in as a junior, in the 3rd year of high school, breaking into one of those like groups was incredibly difficult, because I think people are, one, scared to be alone, but two, like have a need for a sense of belonging. And so even if the group of people you're with isn't ideal or you want to go and explore and meet other people, just the fear of like losing that security of having your own group set, I think causes people to like shy away from pursuing that.
So I think,
Oh,
go ahead.
we're
Sylvia.
actually out of time. So it's time for us to check out. During checkout, you will have the chance to respond to one more question. Rather than responding to one another, you will go one by one to give your final thought. When it's your turn, try to offer a unique thought. And the question is, tell us something you would tweet about this dialogue.
I would tweet that I thought it was cool that like we get to talk, like I'm in the US and I thought it was cool that we got to talk to people who were outside of the US and had very different experiences than I did.
I would do, I guess if it's a tweet, I'd have to have a hashtag. So it'd be hashtag meet new people, and definitely to reach out and actually talk to other people if you have the opportunity to.
I would probably tweet out that statement about how we're putting people into categories more and more these days, and that, you know, it's so easy to meet new people, so we shouldn't be doing that.
If I were to tweet something, it would be one of Muhammad's points about how we stop categorizing people, like that's going to take a long time, and it's a very it's a gradual process. So I'd say something along the lines of that.
I would say, like Muhammad said, put yourself in their shoes. We're all humans, but circumstances made us and made our personality and what we are right now. So we should like think why this person is that way before we judge him or judge them, like the people, and put them in these categories.
For me, I think I'll tweet, the world is big, the life is small. Get out there and know and get to know new people, and don't categorize.
Well, I think I will tweet. You should try to meet new people and have a chat with them, and you should know the person. Then after that, judge him. You can't judge a person before you know him.
I think my tweet would have to be hashtag decategorize. Thanks, Mohammed, for that idea.
I think I would encourage people to have conversations that examine their own behavior, because as we've said, it is a gradual process, and I think it starts with, you know, addressing our own like biases and prejudices. And so I would tweet something about, you know, evaluating how you treat and how you see other people and how maybe that was conditioned.
My tweet would be about trying to educate ourselves about different people that we don't normally interact with.
My tweet will be bad internet. No joke. My tweet will be looking good for people.
Amna, did you go?
Oh, I was talking and the internet was off, I guess.
Oh.
I would say put yourself in people's shoes before you categorize them or you put them in a group because we're all humans and our personalities and what we are now are made from the circumstances and like the things that we lived or we got through. So we should think and like see what people are thinking before we judge them or categorize them.
Is there anyone that didn't go?
Did Jenny go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. It's all you, JB.
Okay, cool. So to all of our participants joining us from Mosul today, please feel free to exit the dialogue whenever you'd like. This last portion is only for our Penn State students. So once again, thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure to meet with everybody, see some familiar faces and some new too.
It was an honor to co-facilitate this dialogue. It was really good to see you guys.
Good to see you all.
Thank you so much. Hope we can see you again.
And then for our Penn State students, I am sending you your post-program evaluation. So this should be all of your second dialogue. So, you should know the drill, but if you are forgetting, the password this time is going to be WINC, all lowercase. And the dialogue ID is there referenced for you as well. Just make sure you're clicking on the first link, which is the PPE-F. The second link is just for anybody who enjoyed what we did today and wants to get to know a little bit more about what we do at World in Conversation. And if you are, please click that link and give us some information. We'll send you a bunch of information back. Once you finish the survey, there is going to be a little quote in some, just like quotation marks. Just remember to either take a picture of that end screen and show your camera or directly share your screen in this call. Just solidifies your attendance, and once you show us that, you are free to go. After a few weeks doing this, Chiluvya, I feel like a flight attendant. Like,
Yep. You have your
I
whole
just had that
routine.
thought. I was like, it's very scripted. Please go this way. Exits are here.
Yeah. That's how I feel about the signpost.
Actually, Jordan, though we facilitators who facilitate the dialogues, but I think that you are the spine of this whole organization. Without you, the whole thing would fall off. Yeah.
Not just me. I think that's all the ops team. We're kind of behind the scenes, but we've had people say similar things. Ooh, I wonder why Muhammad's coming back. We'll see. We've had people say similar things, but we always appreciate that. We know y'all are superstars, but every Michael Jordan needs a Scottie Pippen. Without us, where would we be?
I recently watched The Last Dance, and so I actually know what that means now.
Yeah. Cool. I haven't watched that yet, and I don't know why. I heard it's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
So what'd you say?
There are a bunch of references that I don't understand, so feel free to fill me in, guys.
Okay, so I said
watch Lost Dance.
Well, just go ahead, Sam. You can
No,
describe.
I was just saying you gotta watch The Last Dance. That's all.
It's basketball. So Michael Jordan, the best basketball player, he had a second man, his right-hand man, Scottie Pippen, who is arguably one of the best players ever, but very underpaid, if I'm not mistaken, and just undervalued, I suppose, by the organization. But Michael Jordan was like, without Scottie Pippen, we didn't like that. We didn't have that team. We wouldn't have been as good as we were. So.
Got it. See, that was good explaining, man. Thank you.
Chiluvya, I don't see your name on the survey. Should I just type it into other?
Oh, you can. Then there should be a box that says other, so you could just type her name in there.
Yeah.
And Riley, I see your screen. Thanks for joining us this morning. You can go ahead and take off.
Bye, Riley.
Thank you so much.
And Raphael, I see yours as well. Thanks for being here.
It was good to see you guys. Take care. Have a good day.
I love when this happens. Nobody ever sends it through the chat. Thanks, Jenny. It's always a treat. All right, and I'm not sure who just shared this screen, but I definitely see it.
Sam?
All right, Taylor, I see yours as well.
Try it. Here, I'll do mine again. Do you see it?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Bye.
All right, have a good one. Thank you.
You as well.
So I'm kind of new to this. What is going on right now? Are the students giving feedbacks?
Yep. So it's our survey just asks a bunch of different questions, and at the end of the year, we'll take all the responses from both the semesters and compile it into a big year-long report. So if you want to check that out, our one from last year is on our website.
Guys, make sure to give good feedbacks, man.
Yep.
Especially
You guys are set.
Especially to my man.
Thank you so much.
Jordan and Chiluvya.
Well, I don't think I'm listed, so it'll just be you two.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep. See ya.
Take care, is it? So.
Yeah, read the end of your report. I helped write it, and it was a lot.
It's a lot of numbers.
Do we get a feedback on this session or?
Ooh, are those not coming up soon? I thought that Taylor was like gonna give back some like reviews or something.
Actually,
I don't know.
Maybe for the advanced team. I don't know.
Maybe it's just the advanced team. That makes a lot of sense actually.
If you ever want to know, though, you can definitely ask Taylor, and she can pull the information for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I patiently waited till the last session. Like, I really wanted to know how did I do? Like, was I bad? I kind of feel like I was a bit bad. So I don't know.
This is what debrief is for, but it's not in terms of good or bad. I don't think that you were bad,
Yeah.
but
So
don't have that mentality.
unfortunately, it has to be a really quick debrief because I am late for another meeting. But
I was gonna say I'm taking off to go start St. Petersburg, so we'll see y'all later.
bye. So many things to do.
So
What'd you think? It was your first dialogue.
was my first dialogue. I was kind of scared, but really excited. So I feel good about it, but I feel like I slipped out. I don't know. Like, I really want to know your opinion about it. Like, for my
What's a moment that you feel like you slipped up?
like during the last of the what part question, like I think that we were going on circles, and I didn't had time to watch Sam's lecture, so I didn't had a lot to go on,
Mhm.
so I kind of felt bad at that
Yeah.
moment.
I don't think you need, well, what I'll say is I don't think you need to watch Sam's lectures to be able to facilitate. I didn't watch it either. I think my advice to you is just keep on questioning them. Whatever they say, like just keep questioning it, keep asking them. Like, there's a lot of moments for me where I was just like, it doesn't, like what you're saying is contradicting what you said before, so just question it. But no, I think for your first dialogue, you did really well. I think something that you really, really was impressive and amazing was you used all of their names. And I don't know if you noticed by the end of the dialogue, like they were using each other's names, which was nice. Yeah.
Interesting. So let me, at this moment, let category me like from 1 to 10.
I'm not going to do that.
One is the worst and 10 is the best. Like,
I'm not, okay, I will tell you this. This is not the worst dialogue, the worst facilitation I've ever seen. And you're still learning. So there are things that I could tell you, but they're not going to be meaningful because you haven't really learned it yet. So I'm saying based on what you've learned in class, like based on your rapport was great, with the questions you were asking, the who, like you did well. You did so well. That was a
thank
good
you.
dialogue.
I don't want to like make you go late to your other meetings, but can you please like why do I need your feedback is I want to make myself a better for next time. So if you had time, maybe later, if you could like write down some sentences when I did that wrong or I did that good, so that would be really great. I will appreciate it really.
I can definitely do that. And I want you to just like reframe the way that you're thinking about it, because it's not right or wrong. It's just like based on where you are in your learning here, like the things that you've learned, you did well, right? But we haven't even really explored the what. So it makes sense that you were lost in the what. You know what I mean? But I can definitely write some stuff down for you.
That would be really great. It was a most pleasant event that I could co-facilitate with you, Chiluvya. It meant a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you.
Aww.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad we got this opportunity. I do have to run though. I'm so sorry, but I will see you on Monday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good time.